But more importantly, today we're going to talk about how to raise capital for your apartment deals without chasing investors or begging for money. So who's excited about this? I want to see it in the chat, guys. Let me see who's excited. Who wants to know how to raise capital for your apartment deals without chasing investors or begging for money? This is something so many people get stuck with. Even if you've got experience in multifamily, this is something that a lot of us just honestly, we really struggle with, right? So Hale, thank you so much. I appreciate it. We got a lot of really good information for you guys today. I want to get started on time because we have a lot of information to cover. So let's go ahead and jump in. Again, my name is Stephen Lee Thomas. I'm a multifamily investor and business coach. And today we're going to talk about how to raise capital for your apartment deals without chasing investors or begging for money. So here's what we're going to do. If you stick around until the end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to raise capital. I'm going to show you how to take someone who's a cold lead and get them warmed up and get them ready to invest. Who's excited? Who wants to learn about that? Who wants to get unstuck and not being able to raise capital? I get these calls multiple times a week, guys. I'm getting people reach out to me and say, hey, I've got a deal. I don't have anybody to invest in the deal. Can you help me out? It happens all the time, and I want to help you move away from that. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So real quick, guys, I know this is not easy. Maybe some of you are new. Maybe some of you have been in this space for a little while. If you have failed at capital raising in the past, I want you to know it's not your fault, okay? This is something I struggled with. I'm going to share a little bit with you about that, some of my struggles, my journey, and how I got unstuck. But you might have told yourself something like, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. That's not true. You've just never really been taught the right way to do this. Maybe you've thought, I must be doing something wrong. Well, chances are you probably are, but you just don't know the right steps to take. Now, here's this other one that happens. What if I finally get a deal and I can't raise a dime? That's a tough one right there. That is a scary feeling, and you don't want to be there. You know, a lot of us, we've seen these programs, they bring us into them, and, they make it seem really easy. These gurus make it seem like raising money is easy, but they already have this credibility and list, and maybe you don't. How the heck are you going to raise capital? We're going to talk to you about that today. And another thing, and this one I get all the time, like I said, multiple times a week, I talk to people and they say, hey, I joined this mentorship program, but they don't really show me how to buy deals, not how to raise money. So guys, look, it is not your fault. It's just you don't have the right guidance. You don't have the right people helping you out. So here's our goals for today. I want to be really clear about this, all right? So if you are a beginner, you are in the right spot. We're going to help you out. We want to help you raise capital before you even get to that first deal. If you're experienced, you're probably here because you've gotten a deal and you really struggled with raising capital and you had to bring in other people to help you out. Okay, we're going to help you out too. By the end, what I want to do is I want to show you how to create a capital raising machine. Stick around to the end. I'm going to show you step by step everything you can do to start raising capital and start creating this capital raising machine. All right. But here is where a lot of people really struggle. Okay. Building a capital raising funnel, we're going to talk about funnels a little bit more. The traditional way, I'm going to tell you it doesn't work. There's a better way to do it, and I'm going to show you how. Anything anybody's been teaching you has been the wrong way. Real quick, how many of you have tried and failed? How many of you have tried to raise capital but just got stuck? You're like, man, I suck at this, okay? I've been there. That's happened to me. I know what it's like, and that's why I fought so hard and I put in so much effort, energy to figure this thing out. Okay. Well, it's probably because everything you've been doing was the wrong way. So what I'm going to show you today is the right way. We're going to talk about this concept called the upside down marketing funnel. This is the right way to raise capital. And here's what's important about this, guys. If you can accept just this one thing right here, okay, maybe it looks a little bit funny. Maybe you're like, what is going on? Just accept this one thing, and I promise you everything else that I'm going to show you today is going to fall into place. And if you can accept it really, truly, this is the fastest and most predictable way to raise capital is by taking this funnel and flipping it upside down. Okay. It is not that you need a website. It is not that you need some type of lead magnet to start raising capital. Okay. Those are not the things. A lot of us do this. We think we need a website. We think we need some lead magnets or something. That is, you're putting the cart before the horse. Okay. It's like, here's an analogy. Let's say you got this new house and you show up and you're going to go paint and decorate the living room. And when you show up, it's a dirt lot. Okay. The foundation's not poured. The framing is not there. The walls are not up. The windows are not there. What I'm going to show you today is how to build that foundation. I'm going to show you how to build that framework to make it really easy for you to raise capital. Okay. It's like buying a really fancy Ferrari with no engine in it. Okay. It's a really nice looking car, but it doesn't go anywhere. We're going to get you unstuck. All right. So real quick, if you guys don't know me, if you've never met me the first time meeting me, my name is Stephen Lee Thomas. I'm a multifamily investor. I've been doing this for 7.5 years now. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a podcast host and I'm a business coach. And I help people learn how to raise capital before they have a deal. So a little bit more about me and my partners, our portfolio of principals. I think we got about 16 apartment complexes here, several deals, about half of them have gone full cycle. It's like 3,500 units in all. So the only way we were able to do this is by raising lots and lots of capital. These are large apartment complexes, okay, guys? So real quick, fun fact, my partners and I have raised over $70 million in capital. I'm going to share with you the lessons we've learned along the way. But I want you to know that building a capital raising process the right way, it absolutely changed everything for me. But it wasn't always like that, okay? So I used to think that capital raising was really about getting business cards at real estate networking events. My first deal, when I went to raise capital, I fell flat on my face. I raised money. It was actually from one person. So, I figured I just wasn't cut out for this. And since that point, I have spent years and tens of thousands of dollars figuring out how to raise capital. And what I learned is that raising capital isn't about a fancy website or getting thousands of leads. Okay. Everything I was taught, everything I read about raising capital was actually wrong. And I learned that I had to build this marketing funnel upside down. Okay. If you look here, this is a moment in time when I was very frustrated. Fast forward, and I am now partners on multiple multifamily deals. We've raised tens of millions of dollars. So look, guys, my story is not unique. I know that. So maybe for you, you've come to the point where you know how important raising capital is, but you have no idea where to start. You believe in this business, but raising capital still feels awkward, slow, and uncertain. And you keep hearing just find a deal and the money will follow. And it just hasn't worked for you. Okay. And that is a frustrating thing. And I know where it's at. And I want to help you guys get unstuck. So I want to bust a couple myths for you, because if you're anything like me, when I was getting started, what happens is you have these ideas of what you need to be doing, and that's what's going to help you raise capital. So let me bust those things. Okay. Number one is you need a deal before you start raising capital. And that is absolutely not the truth. I can't tell you how many times, I mentioned it already, people reach out to me and say, hey, I've got a deal. I don't have any capital. You need to learn how to raise capital before you have a deal. Okay. The second myth I want to bust here is if a deal is good, the money will follow. That is not true. Think of it this way. If there's two deals that are out there, exactly the same, but one person has put in the effort to build the relationships with people and get their commitments for an upcoming deal before they ever have a deal, versus I haven't heard from this person in 6 months or a year, what deal do you think is going to get the funding? Okay. It does not have to do with how good the deal is. That is not true at all. Okay. The other one is you just need more leads. That's also not true. I'm going to break that down for you. And you definitely don't need a fancy website. It's nice to have, but you don't need that. Okay. So, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to raise $1 million or more for your next deal. You guys ready? You guys excited? Okay, let's break this down. I'm going to show you in the next slide. I'm going to show you the 3 secrets we're going to break down today to help you start raising capital. You can start raising capital today. After this call, you can go start raising capital. Secret number 1 is you don't need more leads. You need a conversion system. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Secret number 2 is you don't need a track record to start. You actually have to focus on building trust. What does that even look like? I'm going to show that to you. And secret number 3 is don't wait for a deal to raise money. You need to raise money before you have a deal. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this call, is that one thing. Don't wait for a deal to raise money. You need to learn how to raise money before you have a deal. All right, secret number 1. You don't need more leads. You need a conversion system. So for my first deal, I'd spent a couple of years attending these events, collecting these business cards. I keep this box of business cards in front of me as a reminder. And I added them to a database. I was told that I needed to have an investor database. So I literally built an access database. I took these business cards, I'd get back from an event, and I'd open up my access database, put these people in, and I was like, I got a gold mine here. I got a gold mine. I got all these business cards. It's going to be easy to raise capital. Because I thought that if I built a list of investors, then when the deal came, I'd be able to raise capital without any problems. I even actually had a coach in my program tell me this. But that is not what happened. So we got this first deal and we had our webinar and I sent out a few hundred emails. And guess what happened? Crickets. Okay. That silence that you just heard, that's what I got back. Like nobody was interested. I was like, what is going on? Okay. So I was just really stumped and I felt so bad. Like we had this big deal under contract and with my partners. I'm like, oh yeah, I can raise money. Don't worry about it. At least $1 million. And I had one person invest in that deal. It was like 50,000 and we had to raise 8 million. So my partners at the time, they were able to come up with the rest of that capital, but I felt so bad. And I told them, I said, man, I suck at this. I was beating myself up. And they said, don't beat yourself up. It takes time. You're going to get this. Just stick with it. So I wasn't ready to give up. And eventually I ended up hiring a business coach. And we worked on this for quite a while. And what I learned was that even though I had been building this database and still getting more and more leads, going to networking events and getting these business cards, is I didn't have a conversion system. I didn't have a way to take these leads and turn them into investors. Okay. Let me see if I can explain what that is to you. And I keep using these marketing terms of marketing funnel, leads, that kind of stuff. Okay. Conversion system. So some of you may be familiar with marketing. Most of you probably aren't. It's just not talked about in the multifamily space. We talk about underwriting deals. We talk about meeting with brokers. We talk about raising capital, but don't really talk about it the right way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through, because I'm going to set the stage for the rest of this webinar. I'm going to walk you through a marketing funnel, and more specifically, how you can apply a marketing funnel to capital raising. Okay. So this is a pretty simplistic marketing funnel, but these are basically the stages that you have. You have awareness. This is just getting people aware of who you are and what you do. Then you have interest. Now you're warming them up a little bit more. You're getting their interest and you're moving them through. And then at some point you want to convert them. This is where you start to get people to either A, give you a soft commitment, or B, invest in a deal. And then you have to build loyalty. And this is where you get them to invest with you over and over and over, or even get referrals and bring people in to invest in your deals. All right. So I'm going to break this down. I'm going to give you some examples of each of these, and then we're going to move on to the rest of the presentation. By the way, guys, if you got questions, put them in the chat. We've got some time at the end for Q&A. I will look at those when we get to the end, but if you've got questions, please just put them in the chat, and I promise you I will get answers to your questions before this webinar is over. So let's talk about this awareness. The awareness, the top thing is really getting people aware of what you do. So how do we do this? It could be through social media posts. It could be doing webinars like this one. It could be giving away free downloads. It can be doing meetups. But whatever it is, it's just getting people aware of what you're doing. It's just getting people to you think about it, coming to the top of the funnel. But at the every step in the funnel, we have what's called a CTA or a call to action. And we're literally reaching through, we're inviting people, we're holding their hand and we're bringing them to the next stage in the funnel. So that's something really big. You have to get to the point where you're literally moving people. Hey, would you like to come over here? Would you like to come over here? Come to this next step, right? So we're always going to be doing a CTA where we can. So maybe we're doing a webinar and we get their information and then we're going to start sending them some more information. So you've got like, now we're going to start providing educational content. We're going to start doing email nurturing. Maybe we're going to do some more webinars. We're going to get them warmed up. All right. Then we're going to ask them to get on a one-on-one call. That's where we start to do the conversions. Okay. And what I like to do, and I'm going to explain this to you a little bit more, but what I like to do is I like to get people initially just an apartment investing overview, not a specific deal. Let me just educate you about apartment investing in general. Let me show you what those returns would look like. Let me show you the tax benefits. Let me show you how it's better than the stock market. I'm also going to show you some of the risk. Okay. I'm not going to like hide this stuff, but I'm going to educate you on the process. And I'm going to get you interested in a deal before I have one. I'm going to get you saying, hey, let me know when you got a deal. I got some money. I want to put it someplace. Okay. That's what I'm doing here. Then also, what I'm doing is, at some point there'll be a specific deal. I'm going to show that to them, and that's where I do my call to action, invest in this specific deal. Okay. And then once we've got that far, we need to keep them warmed up. So maybe they've given me their soft commitment. I'm going to keep them warmed up with these biweekly newsletters or a quarterly investor call. Maybe they've invested in a deal already. We want them to invest in another deal or ask for referrals. Okay, guys. So this is just a nice, easy overview of what a marketing funnel is. And I should probably just call this a capital raising funnel because that's really what it is. So this is a core concept to everything that we're doing here when it comes to capital raising. So if you're not doing any of these things, start doing them because this is how you're going to start raising capital. All right. So I want to go back to this idea of, a lot of people say, oh, I need to build a bigger network. Oh, I need to get more leads. I need to get more business cards because that's how I'm going to raise capital. I'm like, well, how much capital have you raised? And they're like, zero. I haven't raised anything. Okay. Well, then clearly the problem isn't that you need more people. The problem is you got to figure out how to plug the hole in the bottom. Because think about it, if you're getting new leads, but you don't have your funnel built out, you don't have anything built in there, you don't have any steps to warm people up or get their information or get their interest, all they're doing is coming right out the bottom of your funnel. Okay. So I need you guys to really, really, really understand this. You don't need more leads. You need a conversion system. You need a way that when you get those leads, that you take them step by step, a very specific step by step process to get them warmed up. So I'm going to show this to you in a little bit different view. Okay. So think about this, and this is exactly what happened to me. I had a few hundred people on my list when I got started, and I only got $50,000 raised. That was a problem. But if you have a process in place, you can take those leads that you're getting, you can take that small network that you have, and if you do it right, you can get them five warm investors is easily $500,000 in commitments. And I've seen people raise $500,000 with just a handful of commitments. And it's because they have a clear process for building trust, doing follow-ups, getting the conversions. And that's why I'm saying, guys, think of what we were just looking at in that marketing funnel. And it's great to get all this stuff at the top, but if you don't have your foundation poured, it's like going to decorate your living room, but there's no foundation, there's no walls. It's like buying a car with no engine. Okay. That's a problem. It's like pouring water into a bucket that's a hole in the bottom. So you've got to learn how to plug the bottom, because the reality of it is, honestly, guys, if you just think of it like this, if you just had five warm investors that would commit 50,000 or 100,000, that's 250 or $500,000 pretty easy if you just take the right steps. Okay. And then everything else you do from there, because you have a nice, beautiful foundation, it just makes it so much easier. All the other actions you take work that much better. So here's how you want to do this. Okay, this is if you're brand new, you're just getting started, or if you've been struggling, I want you to just put a pin in everything you've been working on, and I want you to think of it this way. And I want you to start at the bottom, and I want you to work your way then to the middle, then to the top of the funnel, like I was just showing you. So the first thing you really want to do is you want to learn how to do appointment setting, do those one-on-one calls, and get soft commitments. Figure this thing out. This is where you make money right here. This is how you raise capital right here. If you're not doing this, then you're going to struggle to raise capital. Okay. Then it makes sense to figure out how to do newsletters, webinars, case studies. And then it makes sense to do lead magnet, social media posts, and maybe even run ads because you have a clear process to this. Okay. Does this make sense, guys? Is this starting to make sense? Is it helpful? You're starting to see, like, okay, if I do these things, it clearly is going to make it easier for me to raise money. Okay. So do you see why building from the top isn't really the best place to start? Or maybe you have some of this in place, but you've never really looked at it this way. Okay. So the reality of it is, if you start at the bottom, if you do things the right way, do you see how it's going to make your capital raising that much easier? So I want to share an example with you of this exact scenario. Okay, so this is Scarlett. She's part of our capital raising fast track group, and so if you're in the school community, you might have seen some of her posts because she started in the capital raising mastery hub, but she's moved over into the coaching group. So she joined this program. And it was about a week after she joined the program, and she called me and she's like, "Hey, I'm just really overwhelmed by the whole process and everything I'm working on." And, we looked at this, like, all the steps that are involved. And I said, "Scarlett, what I need you to do," I said, "I need you to just focus on one thing. I just need you to focus on just the bottom of the funnel. What does that conversation look like? Okay. What does that first conversation with the potential investor look like? Don't worry about all those other things." She said, "Okay, all right, that helps a lot. I'm not going to worry about any of that stuff." And in less than 24 hours, she sent this message to our group. It was really cool. She said, "Today, I just raised my first $50,000 from one of my investor friends. There's a possibility of also partnering on future deals." So this is someone who has one small apartment complex, has never raised any money, overwhelmed by the process. We just taught her the exact steps of how to get someone onto that one-on-one call and what to say and how to get that soft commitment. And she figured it out. We got her unstuck just like that. So it really is as easy as just following an exact process. Is that pretty cool? Like, would that help you out if you could just figure out this one thing? Because maybe you've got people who are already out there, you just don't know what to say to them. And that's what you need to do. Figure out how to get them into that conversation and what to say to them. Build that little conversion system, and then you go out and go to all these networking events and work on getting people on calls. Okay, that's the secret to it, guys. So I'm going to give you 3 steps to help you start building the bottom of your funnel. So number 1 is map out your funnel, right? Start at the bottom, upside down, start with a goal, and start working on how you're going to get soft commitments. A lot of people don't even have that idea, that concept. So how are you going to get those soft commitments? Then I want you to work backwards to start designing your trust building steps. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. Number 2 is create your soft commitment assets. And that's really easy. You're just going to have like a 5 or 6 slide deck, super easy. You just talk about apartment investing at a high level, the benefits of it, okay? What the potential returns look like. You get people into a one-on-one call and you just get a simple form, capture their commitment, and now all of a sudden you're raising capital before you have a deal. The other thing I'm going to tell you guys to do is don't go out to 500 people and do this. I would just start with a small group of people and figure it out, have those conversations, get some feedback, and move from there. So that's easy, right? Like, honestly, if you think about it, like what I just showed you, you could map out your funnel really easy. What I just showed you, you guys can build a 5-slide pitch deck. All it's going to have, I'll tell you the things you need to have in there. On your pitch deck, what you're going to have just a cover slide. You're going to have a bio slide. You're going to have a slide that says, this is the problem people have, right? Limited investment options. Here's a solution, apartment investing. And then you're going to cover some scenarios. Okay, that's 5 slides right there. Cover some scenarios. If you invest in apartment deals, this is what the returns look like. Then you can go into some Q&A if you want, but it's really as simple as that. Like those 5 slides right there is really all you need. I promise you, I've been doing this for a while. I've done a lot of slide decks. It's really all you need. So it's easy. Just do that and get started. So are you guys seeing like this actually isn't that hard? It's just knowing the right steps to take. Let's move into secret number 2. So secret number 2 is the reality of it is you actually don't need a track record to start. You need to build trust. So one night, my wife and I went to dinner with some friends of ours, and the topic came up about the apartment investing I was doing. And they just started asking me how it worked. So at this point, I didn't think it was going to end up any place. I figured they're just being polite, wanted to know more about it. And the story I'd been telling myself was that I'm not going to be able to raise capital until after I've done at least one, if not a few deals, right? Like, how many of you feel that way? If you haven't done a deal, or maybe you've done one, you're like, I'm not going to be able to raise capital until I've done 3 or 4. But how do I like figure this thing out? Like, oh, you just beat yourself up because like I don't have a track record. I can't raise capital. But here's what happened. So before they left dinner, they committed $100,000 to invest in my next deal. And not only did they decide to invest $100,000, this is something that really surprised me. We're going to take money out of our 401k account. We're going to take money from our retirement savings. We're going to invest it because we like everything you're saying. And, as they were leaving, here's what they told me. They said, the reason we are deciding to invest with you is because we trust you. And it was like the light bulb just came on for me. And I learned that people really aren't investing in the deal. I mean, yeah, the numbers might look good, but what they're really investing in is you and your ability to follow through with your promises. They had never seen a deal. Like I didn't even have a deck to show them. I didn't have anything about an apartment deal. They'd never even seen that. But honestly, it was their trust in me that gave them that confidence to invest. So, after that dinner and that $100,000 commitment, I started thinking, well, what actually made them feel confident in investing with me? And like I said, they'd never seen a deal. I'd barely gotten into my first deal. I didn't have a track record. I didn't even think I had like a brand or a website at that point. And I'll just go back to the answer is really simple. They trusted me. And that's what I realized. Okay, if it's trust that unlocks this ability to raise capital, then I need a system to build trust on purpose. Okay, I'm going to say that again. If it's trust that unlocks capital, then I need a system to build trust on purpose. Okay. That is how you get to the point to where you can actually raise capital without this track record because you're taking the time to build trust. And that's what I call the trust bridge. Okay. So raising capital, if you look at this image, raising capital, it's like standing on one side of a canyon and your investor standing on the other side. All right. So this is you. This is your potential investor. They want to cross that gap. They see the potential if they were just to start doing the investments, and they're really curious. Okay, they have the money, but they're just unsure at this point. And if there's no bridge in place, if you don't build this bridge right here, they're just going to turn around. They are not going to take the step. They're just not going to be courageous enough to do it. So your job is to build this bridge by establishing trust, because the moment they feel safe, that's when they're going to say, yeah, I'd be interested in your next deal. That's when capital raising stops feeling hard. And that's when it starts to become repeatable. So you want to build a repeatable system to build trust. So I'm going to share another story with you here. This is Janice. She's also part of the group. And you may see some of her posts as well. And she's been in the coaching program. When she started working with me, she'd actually been in another program for a little bit over a year, an apartment investing program for a little over a year, and she'd never closed a deal. And within a couple of months of working with me, she was actually able to find a partner and get a deal under contract. And what's even cooler about that is they closed on this deal, and she And her partner, so she raised over $500,000. And together, her and her partners raised several $1 million. It's a $10 million deal. She'd never done a deal before. And her raise was almost $500,000. And she told me, she said, look, between me and the other people in the group, she said, there's only one person that raised more capital than me. And she got the other thing she told me is she's probably got over $1 million in soft commitments for her next deal because she's taken the time to build this process for not only, converting people, but what's amazing, she's got this ability to now she has insight into how much capital can she raise for her next deal. Um, but she built this process. And so she's nice enough leaving me this review. Stephen's been instrumental in helping us navigate multifamily investing, answering our questions, and giving us a deeper understanding of the process. He taught us how to raise capital, provided support where we needed it most, and gave us the confidence to take action. And then she goes on and says, thanks for his guidance. We're on track to close our first $10 million deal, and we couldn't be more excited for what's ahead. And that could be you guys. If you figure out how to raise capital, your first deal might be a $10 million deal. How many of you would be like excited about that? How many of you would love your first deal to be a $10 million deal and the fact that you were able to raise capital and help out with that? That's a pretty cool feeling, guys. That is an awesome thing to do. So let's talk about this. Those are 5 steps to build trust with your investor. So step number 1 is be consistent. Show up when you say you will. You have to show up. This thing is, when you guys start going down this path, you need to be committed. Show up. Clarity is step number 2. Good communication and be clear on how you're going to help them achieve their goals. Okay. Number 2 and number 3 belong to each other. Step number 3 is education. Help them feel smarter, more comfortable with these investments. So I want to get real clear on something here. When you are raising capital, it has nothing to do with how much capital you're going to raise. It has nothing to do with the multifamily. I'm going to be real honest with you. What you're doing is you're helping somebody solve a problem that they have. And for some people, it might be they want less volatility than the stock market. Some people might want better returns in the stock market. Some people might want to pay less in taxes on the money they're making. Some people might be looking for some type of retirement growth accelerator because they started investing late. So I need you guys to really, really, really realize this. When you're building trust, you don't want to just talk about how, what we're going to do to these apartment complexes. You need to talk about how you're going to solve their problems. How, if they give you the trust to invest with you, like, how are you going to help make their lives better? So that is really good communication and education. Help them feel smarter, more comfortable with these investments. Step number 4 is staying on top of mind without chasing. And so we do that by reaching out to people somewhat regularly, providing these educational webinars or emails or something like that, where you're just keeping them aware of what's going on and providing this education so that when the deal comes, they feel comfortable investing. Step number 5 is be transparent. I think this is huge, and a lot of people don't do this. You need to be real about the risks and processes, and this is something I made a mistake on in the past. And I would get to the end, and all I would talk about is the highlights, and people are like, "This is too good to be true." Like, you mean like there's nothing bad about it? And I'm like, well, So I just be real. And here's how you do that: is you identify what the potential risks are, and you talk about how you mitigate those. Okay, so you basically show that you got their back. You're not going into this willy-nilly. You're going to help them out. Okay. So those are 5 steps to start building trust with your investors. Secret number 3. All right. So fast forward a year or so of my first deal, and I'd slowly been working on building my investor database, gaining soft commitments. And one of my partners, they reached out to me. They had a deal and asked how much money I could raise. Well, I had heartburn from my first experience. And so, to be honest, I was really worried. And, yeah, I'd been working on this list, but I didn't know that I was going to be able to raise any money from these investors. But here's what happened. It was a surprise to me. And a lot of these people that I've been reaching out with and having these conversations with actually said yes. So not only did I have visibility into how much I could raise because I'd been getting these soft commitments, but I just proved to myself that this was actually very possible. Because the story I'd been telling myself was that I had to have a deal before I raised money. I realized that was actually wrong. I'd been building this list of people to invest in a deal before I even had a deal. So what I learned is that if I take the time to raise money before I had a deal, it's actually way easier and way more effective than I ever thought it would be. And that was another huge aha moment for me. So I want you to take a look at this picture right here, okay? Don't wait for a deal to raise money. You need to raise money before you have a deal. So are you guys familiar of the story of the tortoise and the hare? Because that's what this example is all about, okay? Because if you wait for a deal to start raising money, it's probably one of the worst things you can do. And I had one of these calls earlier today, and I could feel the panic in these people that say, hey, we submitted an offer, but we don't have any capital. I have no idea how much capital we can even raise. So if you think about this, at the end of the story, it's the tortoise. The tortoise wins because you're just so consistent. And this is the raising capital journey, right? You're building trust, you're doing follow up, you're getting soft commitment. It's a nice, easy journey. If you don't take that approach, what happens? So here's what happens. It puts you in this panic mode. You're racing against the clock. You're literally sprinting to raise capital. It makes you look very unprepared. Like you can hear it in somebody's voice. Your pitch sounds rust, like they're desperate for money, and you do not want to be doing that. It's not a fun place to be in. So if you compare side by side, right, someone who builds their list of investors before a deal, they take the time to educate, they take the time to build trust, they take the time to do the follow-up. And then when the deal comes, it's really just a matter of reaching out. That's the power of soft commitments. Okay. When you've already had the conversation, the investor says, yes, I'd love to see the next deal you have. That's when the whole process really starts to come together. And it just happened to me earlier this week. Someone had reached out to me a couple of weeks back. We had a conversation. We set a follow up. I went over my slide deck that just got like 5 or 6 slides in it. We get to the end. Would you like to invest in a deal? And they're like, yeah, actually, I would. I would love to invest in a deal. Like, please let me know when your next deal is going to be available. So it's just this process. When you have the right steps in place and you learn how to have those conversations, you start building this list of people who are going to invest in a deal before you even submit an offer. So I want to share with you about Ricardo. Ricardo is also part of our coaching community. And so Ricardo, this is a cool message he sent to the group. He says, I just sent an LOI to acquire a 42-unit apartment complex in Corpus Christi and continue adding soft commitments, $480,000 so far. So he'd only been in the group, I think about a week and a half or so. And he was already able to get an offer accepted. And he knows that moment he sent the offer in, he's got almost $500,000 and other conversations in the pipeline. Who wants to have that? Like, who wants to be in this position where you're submitting offers and you already know what you have to back up your deal? That is huge. That's such a game changer for you guys. So instead of scrambling to raise capital after he gets a deal under contract, he's just figured it out. He's just getting commitments before he has a deal. He's already doing the work there. Okay. So, honestly, how would this change things for you? Like if you knew you could raise capital before you had a deal, how would that change things for you? Would you submit more offers? Would you go after bigger deals? Would you line up 3 or 4 deals in a year? How would things change for you if you had this figured out? Here's 3 steps, guys, to raise capital before you have a deal. So number 1 is start these investor conversations early. I can't say this enough. Don't wait. Reach out now. You need to start planting those seeds for these future deals. You got to do it. Step number 2 is follow up consistently. Just use a light touch system. I mentioned this before. You're going to send out, a couple emails a month just to stay top of mind. Those are educational in nature. You just want to keep them warm. You can also send out emails. Hey, I was underwriting these deals and I passed on them. And here's why. Here's the markets I'm looking at. Here's something I learned. Here's a networking event I went to. Just something that shows people what you're doing. You're out there and you're taking this seriously. Okay. And then you want to pre-frame the opportunity. So what I love to do is I like to set expectations about my deals in general. I clearly communicate potential timelines, potential returns, how we structure the deal. And I do this like before I even have a deal. Like I am big on managing expectations, and I just start doing that early. And I think people really, really appreciate that. And that's what resonates with them. So, guys, look, here is everything you need to start raising capital with confidence. We're going to do a quick recap. So raise capital confidence is really three secrets. Number one is you don't need more leads. You need a conversion system. So this is where I'm saying, like, you need to figure this thing out. You need to figure out how to have these conversations. If the people in the group that you just saw can do it, you can do it too. I trust you. Trust me. I trust you. Trust me. There is no like magic here. It's just knowing the process to follow. Okay. Secret number two is you don't need a track record. You really need to build trust. A track record amplifies that, but it's really more about building trust and coming across as someone who's taking this seriously and just really knows what you're talking about. And step number three is slow and steady wins the race. I promise you this. You want to have a process in place that's just always out there building you capital. You got to raise money before you have a deal. So, guys, is this helpful for you? Are you starting to see how you can raise capital with confidence before you have a deal and without a strong track record? Trust me, this works. I know. I've done it myself. I've helped other people do it. This can work for you. So you might be asking yourself, hey, Stephen, this is great. I appreciate it. Can you share some more details on how that would actually work? And so, how would you actually implement this? I'm just going to show you an overview, step by step, of how you can start putting this together. All right. So, I mentioned this before. We got these different layers of the funnel. And here is just a breakdown of the things you need to do to start raising capital. This is the system we use. So basically, I'm just giving you the system that we use. You can implement it on your own. So we like to start out with defining who our avatar is. We have a custom GPT we help people out with define who the avatar is. The avatar is the person you're going to be raising capital from. Like, who is this? Is it a healthcare worker? Is it a doctor? Is it a lawyer? Is it a woman? Is it a man? Are they in their 40s? Do they have children? Like, what is it, right? You got to be able to connect with them. And then you need to figure out appointment setting. You need to figure out these steps right here of how to get people onto these calls. They need to figure out like what it is you're going to say. And so you figure out how to have these conversations to get people interested. And we like to say, look, you get this soft commitment form. It's really easy. You can do it in Google. It's just a quick form, ask a few questions. How much would you like to invest when an opportunity arises? Okay. Now, then we talk about this email process, and we had a couple of different things we mentioned. So you want to build some email automations. That's really going to help you out a lot if you build some email automations. And one is you got a new lead. This is maybe a new business card you got, someone new that you met. Maybe you have a lead magnet already, but what do you do with it? Well, you need to start sending them emails. And these emails are going to like start giving them bite-sized pieces, and you're going to try to invite them onto one of these calls, and then you raise capital from them. Now, what happens if somebody says, yes, I would love to invest with you at some point? Well, you need to have another automation that just gives them more education and gets them really primed and ready to invest in a deal. And then we have these bi-weekly email updates. I was mentioning this is just, every couple of weeks, just talk about what you're doing, what you're up to, a little bit about your family, what you're working on from an apartment investing perspective. And then at some point, you're going to need a property specific pitch deck. All right. This is where you're going to break down the details of those deals, and you're going to pitch it. And then all these people in your soft commitment form, they're going to invest in this deal. Then you also need to build some stuff for what we call the middle of the funnel. If you think back to the funnel, I mentioned some of these things. I love to do recurring webinars. They're great. It's a easy thing to do where you present the same information, because you're going to have new people coming in and people coming back with, wanting to learn more. And so, you want to build a webinar framework. And the two things I love to talk about are alternative investments and apartment investing. And if you got it, a case study. These two things work very well. Now, this gets a little bit more advanced to video sales later, but imagine before someone hops on a call with you, you have them watch a 10 or 15-minute video, and it just gives them that nice little overview of apartment investing. So by the time they get on a call with you, they've already been to a webinar, they've already seen some of your emails, they've already watched a short video prior to hopping onto this call. So your conversation is that much easier. They have technically spent hours with you before you've ever met with them, and it makes it way easier to get the soft commitment from them. Okay. And then the other thing we like to do is once you get a little bit further along is we help you create that 5 or 6 slide pitch deck for when you have this conversation. Then after you have that process built, then what I want you to do is I want you to go build this top of funnel, and you're going to optimize your social media. And that basically means you're going to, whatever it is you're doing, You're going to shift focus and you're going to let people know that you are out there and you're serious and you're a multifamily investor and you help change people's lives. Okay. Social media management, we recommend that you do post as often as you can. Get some video editing tools, something super simple. Post some stuff on YouTube. Use something called like Opus Clip. Post daily stories, CTAs, and highlights. Right. So some of this is more lean focused on Instagram, but the idea is you need to have a process for getting stuff out there on social media, and then really bringing it all together. And so you just have this beautiful automated system is then you create some lead magnets, okay? But I don't think this is where you want to start. You need to figure this stuff out first, okay? Then you build all this other stuff, and then basically think about it like this: you build a lead magnet, and then you just drop that into your funnel. People come through, boop, 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 and you're just lining people up, getting people to commit right here, all right? This is how you build a capital raising machine, all right? You guys can totally go out and do this on your own. Okay. So raising capital for your apartment deals, it can seem hard, and I know it can seem lonely. But what if I could help you? Okay. What if I could help you get all this implemented? What if I could help you raise your first $1 million or more, even if you don't have the experience or track record? Then I'll show you how to scale that even more. What would that do for you? And I know the answer. The answer is it's going to change everything for you. If you are feeling stuck, if you're like, oh, I can find deals, I don't know how to raise capital. Like, what happens if I find a deal? I got to find partners. Like, how do I do this? I don't know how to raise capital. Guys, I want to invite you to our coaching community, our capital raising fast track community. So the capital raising fast track, this is the proven framework. It's going to teach you how to attract investors, build trust, and raise money with confidence, even if you struggled in the past. We're going to break all this down for you step by step along the way. We're going to help you get unstuck. Okay. So who is a good fit for this capital raising fast track? Okay. If you want to raise capital without needing a big brand, a website, or paid ads, this is going to help you out a lot. If you're part of a multifamily team or you got a mentorship, but you're still struggling to raise capital, like this is really common, guys. You're going to be in these other programs and they just don't have the focus on raising capital. This is going to help you out significantly. Okay? If you've had investor conversations and you just felt like they didn't go anywhere and you're not sure why, we're going to help you get unstuck. We're going to help you figure that out. If you want a system, a repeatable system to build trust, get soft commitments before your next deal, this is the program for you. And if you're tired of guessing what to say or how to follow up with your potential investors, the capital raising fast track program is really going to help you out. So let's break this down. Let's show you everything you're going to get in this program that we're offering you. So first, it's a 90-day capital raising fast track implementation program. What we do is the first 90 days, we really dial in and we help you get everything set up. We give you the education, we get you the system set up. So you get 90 days, we're going to really get everything set up for you, okay? We're also going to provide for you what we call a done for you CRM. And I don't want you to worry too much about a CRM, but basically all those boxes I was showing you, we're going to have a single platform, a single software that has everything there and structured ready for you. Basically, you're going to get your own capital raising software. It's going to have the funnel pages, email automations, email campaigns, landing pages when you're ready, like all pre-built, customized just for capital raisers. We're going to give that to you too. How we're going to help you do that, help you get all that implemented and provide the education. So we do weekly group calls. There's twice a week group calls where we cover specific topics and we do live Q&A. These are live sessions that help keep you on track, answer your questions in real time, and give you the accountability. Like we make sure that you're there. People love showing up because we're always providing so much value. We're also going to give you, like, if you're thinking like, oh man, this is great, but you know, I think you can help me with the software, but there's a lot I'm going to have to like build out here, like the emails and the landing page, the lead magnets. Well, we've got an AI toolkit that's going to help you with that. Okay. So we got some pre-trained AI agents going to help you define your investor avatar, write those emails, create those lead magnets. We're even going to help you practice sales calls, handle objections, and a whole lot more. So like if you're really concerned about like the time or like how to do these things, we got you. Don't worry. Like we've really figured out a way to streamline this for you. And we got a capital raising shortcut library. So step-by-step messaging, email sequences. So you always know what to say, even if you're new, we're going to help you. And then as a bonus, what we're doing right now is we're actually waiving the implementation fee. So if you look at all that together, guys, that's it's about a $25,000 value. And if you join some of these other multifamily programs, some of them they cost that much. The whole program in and of itself costs that much, and they're not going to teach you hardly anything about capital raising. So here's what we're doing. For a very limited time, we're doing a beta launch price. We had 5 spots. I'm down to 4. Okay. Once those 4 spots are gone, this price goes away. So we're doing a beta launch price for $19.97. We're gonna get you're gonna get all of this done for you, built out, helping you out, a group of people to help hold you accountable, other people to network with, other people raising capital so you have access to more capital, a 90-day fast track implementation system, a capital raising shortcut library. Like there's so much here. There's so much value, all for just 1997. So just real quick, let me recap everything that's going to be included. So I might not have mentioned this before, but actually giving you got access to the program for an entire year. So 12 months for that price, you get 12 months of access to the program, 12 months of access to the CRM software. This has everything built for you. We got 90-day implementation program. We're going to fast track you to get all this stuff set up. You got access to the community. You got twice a week group coaching calls, marketing and capital raising training. So it's not just how to write emails, but we're going to teach you how to do marketing and capital raising, not just how to set up the software, but we're really going to teach you how to raise capital. Like I said, we get this AI toolkit to help you raise capital faster, help you get up set up faster. We got template libraries, and we're going to be giving you ongoing software training and help you when you get stuck. Okay. So all of that stuff for just $19.97. And so probably now you're asking yourself, what happens after the first year? Because you're getting in on the beta, like I said, there's only 4 spots left. You can choose to renew at $19.97 a year, $197 a month, and you keep full access to everything that I just listed. You keep access to the full program. You keep access to the software. You keep access to the AI tools. Any new trainings we create, you get access to. You get to come to those twice a week mastermind calls. All of it's going to be included. So you basically are locking in a very, very, very low rate for the rest of your life by signing up for this program. So I want to just put that in a little bit different perspective. And if we can get a link in the chat right now, if somebody's ready to just go ahead and sign up right now, like there's a link right there. Go ahead and click on that. We'll get notified and we're going to get you onboarded right away. So we'll get a notification, we'll get your email, we'll reach out to you, you'll get notified right away. And we're going to get you plugged into this program. Like I said, I had 10. I'm down to 4 spots now. We just had one go away yesterday. But here's the reality. I want you to think about it in a different perspective. You're like, I don't know, like $2,000, is it really worth it? Like I already spent money on this other program. Guys, for the price of a cup of coffee, if you take $19.97, $2,000 and divide it by a year, it's $5.50 a day. You spend more than that on lunch. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth it to spend $5.50 a day to help you raise millions of dollars for your real estate deals? Is it worth it for just $5.50 a day to help you raise millions of dollars for your real estate deals? What would that do for you? How would that change your life? What would you have in your life that you don't have today if you just spent $5.50 a day? Just one payment of $19.97 is going to change your life. So for those of you that are maybe watching on the screen and you just want to scan something, you can scan this to pay. Just scan that, go right to your phone. We got multiple payment options in there for you. Real easy. Some of you may want to hop on a call with me and learn a little bit more. Maybe you have a few more questions. So the other thing we're going to do is we're going to provide a link for you to schedule a call with me. I'm going to tell you I'm out of the office coming up this next week. So we've opened up the calendar a little bit further. So if we could just get that link in there so that we can, if somebody wants to hop on a call, ask a few more questions, you're welcome to do that. I cannot guarantee you that those 4 spots are not going to go away by the time we get on that coaching call. So if you're on the fence, I would suggest you just do this. But feel free to book a call and we'll have that call with you and we'll get you set up. We'll answer your questions and make sure that it's a good fit for you and get you going. All right. And if it's not a good fit for you, I'm just gonna be real honest with you guys. I'm gonna say it's not a good fit, but here's what you need to do. Come back when you're ready. All right, so what I want to do now, we got a few more minutes, and I can definitely stay a little bit longer. We're close to the end of the hour. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna start taking some questions. So if you've got questions, go ahead and throw those in the chat. Not a problem. I'll hang out, but I'm gonna go through some of these other questions, some of the common questions we get of people who are, on the fence or thinking about joining this program. So, and also, like I said, if you're interested in joining, go ahead and check out the chat. We've got a link there. It'll take you straight to the payment page. We'll get notified right away. We'll get you onboarded. Or if you're not quite sure yet, maybe got a few questions and you're a little shy, you don't want to ask them here, go ahead and just book in a call. It'll just be you and me. We'll take a look at where you're at, where you're trying to be, where you're really stuck at. And if it makes sense, then I'll just show you how everything works and get you plugged in. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the question. So the first one is, how do I know if I'm ready to start raising capital? And the answer is you're ready. Honestly, if you have committed to multifamily, regardless of if it's day one or day 300, you're ready. Like you need to do this. You need to start figuring this out. You need to make a commitment to raising capital. What if I don't have a deal yet? Can I still use this system? Oh, yeah. This system is going to make it so much easier for you, especially if you don't have a deal. It's really going to make things really nice and easy for you to start raising capital before you have a deal. Will this work if I've never raised money before? Yeah, absolutely. This is going to shave like probably years off of if you've never raised money before, you don't even know what to do because so not only are we going to help you raise money before you have a deal, when you have a deal, how do you raise money at that point? So we've got you covered there. We're going to show you how to do that. We've got the templates in there for you on that as well. How do I build trust if I'm not the lead sponsor or GP? This one's really easy, guys. You have to position yourself as the authority. And so you're providing education. You're taking everything you're learning about multifamily and you're sharing it with other people. And most people that are going to be investing, they don't know you're not the lead sponsor or GP. Like that's not a big deal. Again, they're investing with you and they're building trust with you. Do I need a website, LLC, or logo before I can start? Nope, you sure don't. And actually, I'd recommend that you don't do an LLC until you're further down the path, at least not until you get your first deal. So you do not need that before you can start. What tools or platforms do you recommend for managing investor outreach? Well, the cool thing is we're providing that tool for you. And so we'll call it Raise Genius. It's built on Go High Level, but we've highly customized it to manage all of your investor outreach. So we're taking care of that for you. How do I get someone from interested to actually wiring funds? Well, once again, we solve that problem for you because we've already given you the process. We said, hey, here's how you get a soft commitment, but then you get a deal and maybe it's your first deal. What do you do? Well, there's very specific steps you follow. We've got a process that walks you through step by step by step to get them to wiring those funds. Now, what if I only have friends and family right now? Is that enough? Yeah, absolutely. It's a fantastic place to start. I wouldn't even worry about that. Because what you're going to do is you're going to ask for some referrals along the way. You're going to go to some other networking events. You're going to start getting some more people come in, and it's definitely going to help you get unstuck. How long does it take to build a soft commitment list that actually converts? A week. We've seen a couple examples. I shared them with you. Honestly, people can come in and figure this thing out, and they start getting soft commitments within days. Within a week or so. And you're doing this in the background, where you're out there underwriting, or you got a partner who's looking for deals. And if you follow these steps, it's worked for other people. It'll work for you. What should I say to a potential investor if I'm still building my track record? I would suggest that you're honest with them, but also if you're part of one of these programs, then you probably have some partners or a sponsor that you're working with. And one of the easiest things to do is you can actually just reach out to them and those partners and say, hey, do you mind if I, share your track record with them as part of what we're doing. But even not if that, I mean, when I first got started, I was, this is what I was doing, this is who I am, this is what I'm up to, this is how long I've been in this program. And as long as you're providing that high level of education, people will trust in you. Okay. So I'm going to check and see if we got any more questions over here. I think we got answers to all of them. So, all right, guys, one last time, if you are stuck and you want to get unstuck, it's an easy answer. Join the program. We're going to get you onboarded real quick. Okay. We're going to get you onboarded real quick. We're going to get you unstuck. We're going to help you raise that capital. Not a problem. If you've got some questions, a little too afraid to ask them here, book a call. And as soon as we get a chance, we'll hop on and we'll take a look at where you're at. And if it makes sense, we get you plugged in. Like I said, we got 4 spots left. Take advantage of it while you can. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the capital raising fast track community. And I hope you all have a great day. I'll talk to you later.